Good morning to you all, ladies and gentlemen of the press, my lovers of freedom and the lovers of mankind, lovers of BIAFRA freedom. Make on hear the main reason why UK has abandoned their Nigerian British activists held in a filthy windowless cell. That is, we're talking about the continuous incarceration of Nnamdi Kanu. The British Telegraph, the Nigerian Telegraph, only them know where this one belongs. They don't come and state categorically why they have chosen to abandon their own citizen inside a windowless cell. That is the DSS solitary confinement. Nobody cares to tell you why it is called solitary confinement. The total explanation of it is just an underground cell, no window and nothing like what would they call it? Kind of light or whatsoever that enters inside there. That is why it's been defined as a solitary confinement. In other words, it's just like torturing his mental health and mental illness. It's been tampered with, and that is why if Nnamdi Kanu is out today, you have to go very therapy. You have to meet a psychologist that we're going to what do they call it? That is going to examine him and also consult him and put him back to the society, because that is the way it is. Being on a solitary confinement, a cell whereby you cannot hear a sound of anything, no single inmate to communicate with you, not even a single reading books or even a phone to play with, just inside there like a lonely bird crying on top of the roots without a mama or papa. That is the way it is, and that's the situation Nnamdi Kanu is passing through at the DSS dungeon. So my wonderful people, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. I welcome you all to this early Tuesday morning broadcast. Remember, my name never changed. I still remain Okute Daily Talk, or you can call me Amandia Neze, speaking from the platform of Okute Daily Talk, bringing to us this Ubonga news today concerning Nnamdi Kanu, his incarceration, and other things that got to do with the BIAFRA referendum and Mazi Simon Ekpa enforcing the by force sit at home in the southeastern region of the country. If you never subscribed, I want you to do what? Do not forget to subscribe, like, and also comment on any of my content. Please, pardon my manners, something is just distracting my attention. There's a message that does pop up now on the live video I did some couple of days ago. So that is why I just need to reply it as quickly as possible. So my wonderful people, please, let us go straight to the reason why we are here this very morning. UK has abandoned British Nigerian activists held in a filthy windowless cell, which is the what is being called dungeon or solitary confinement. Lawyers for the London-based Nnamdi Kanu say the government failed to intervene after he was extradited and tortured in Kenya and being renditioned, extraordinary rendition to Nigeria, where never be, and the place is never and can never be his last bus stop. But as the case may be, the Nigerian government, working with the UK government and also the Kenyan government, choose to deal with Nnamdi Kanu and over 80 million people that he represents as a Biafran nation. The government has abandoned a British Nigerian political activist who campaigned for independence from his homeland after he was seized and tortured by the security forces, his supporters say. Nnamdi Kanu spent years running a radio station from his home in South London, but has been held in solitary confinement for 2 years by the Nigerian Security Service, who seized the activist in Kenya and illegally spirited him back to the country called Nigeria. His family say he is being held in a small windowless cell despite a Nigerian appeal court dropping all charges against him and ruling that his arrest and extradition were unlawful. The United Nations has also called for his immediate release, but it all fell to deaf ears. His lawyers accused the UK government of doing too little to push for his release and failing to condemn his mistreatment, even though he was traveling on a UK passport when they were seized or when he was kidnapped. They also fear his life may be in danger in the prison as his health is not getting well. This is a serious matter which we would have expected the British government to be very vocal and reactive about. Ifeanyi Ejiofor, one of Mr. Kano's legal team, told the Telegraph. And according to the Telegraph UK, the UK government has not done much. The Foreign Secretary has so far failed to reach any view on the case of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the Ohamadike one of Igbo land. Mr. Kanu is leader of the indigenous people of Biafra group and for years ran a radio Biafra from his flat in Packham, called for independence for a region in the southeastern part of Nigeria. The region briefly ceded in the last 1960s, prompting civil war and the deaths of at least millions of people, not a million people. Telegraph, be guided, please. What Nigeria lost in that war is over 6 or 5 million individuals. We're not talking about the soldiers. This one is one being killed by hunger, starvation, and kwashiorkor before the breakaway was blocked and starved into surrender. Although popular among many Biafrans for raising calls for a referendum on the independence, Mr. Kanu is a divisive figure, and some in the Nigerian government see him as a potentially dangerous rebel rouser who raises the spectre of renewed civil strife. His group is proscribed as terrorist outfit in Nigeria, but international community have said nehi kaba. To look, self-determination or agitating for self-referendum is never a crime. Neither can Nigeria government say it's a crime under their own law. So proscribing IPOB or Biafra is what is of no use, and it is dead on arrival. Mr. Kanu had previously spent 2 years in the prison and have fled Nigeria while on bail in June of 2021. He was in Nairobi when his family and supporters say he has been abducted and tortured by the Nigerian and Kenyan authorities. After being beaten for several days, he was put on a small plane back to Nigeria and charged with offenses including terrorism and treason. An appeal court dropped the charges and called for his discharge last year, saying he had been subjected to extraordinary rendition without proper extradition process, but he remains in a security service custody ahead of an appeal before the Supreme Court in September and October of last year. His family earlier this year described the foreign office's handling of the case as a catalogue of disappointing fallings, which has left the Nigerian government position largely unaltered, and Mr. Kanu's wife and children, all British citizens, unsupported by their government. The Supreme Court is widely expected to side with Mr. Kanu, but his legal team warned that his health has deteriorated and alleged that he is in danger while in the court today. Anything could happen, according to the news. Mr. Kanu's family told MPs earlier this year that he was being held in a 50 windowless 6 foot by 6 foot cell. You see him? That is an underground cell. He has not been allowed to change his clothes since he was captured, and is given 1 meal or soup and bread each day. He has a heart condition and needs treatment for an ear surgery. His lawyers say he suffered under torture. Nigerian authorities are refusing to let Mr. Kanu's own doctors treat him, and his lawyers claim that his life may be at risk if he is forced to undergo treatment by the military doctors. Mr. Ejiofor said, "I am 100% sure that if he were made to undergo medical procedures under custody that anything could happen, given the history of how he was abducted, how he underwent extraordinary rendition, how he was tortured in Kenya and in Nigeria." A foreign official spokesperson said, "We continue to offer consular support to Mr. Kanu and remain in regular contact with his family and legal representatives and the Nigerian and Kenyan authorities as well," according to the spokesperson of this very news. As if that one is not enough, Labour Party have come out now to let their supporters know that there could be a rerun of this said election, that the APC and their so-called leaders are preparing for it, because I've already known that Labour Party have what it takes to reclaim their mandate. But as it stands now, it seems like the judges or whoever it is can never and will never pronounce P2B as the winner. Instead, they will null and void the election and call for a rerun in coming days, months, or years. I don't know, but let us see what the Labour Party says. Tinubu, APC preparing for an election rerun. Labour Party says this one is coming from the chairman or the president general or chairman general of Labour Party, Julius Abure. The Labour Party has asserted that the President Bola Tinubu-led government is preparing for an election rerun. Nigerian news report that the national chairman of the Labour Party, Barrister Julius Abure, submitted on Monday during a virtual meeting held with Nigerian American Coalition for Justice and Democracy, led by party's diaspora chairman in United States, Prof. Adie Opara Oji. According to Abure, Tinubu and All Progressive Congress APC are preparing for an election rerun just like the Labour Party is. He said those in government are already planning for a rerun, and this is one of the support we will be canvassing from you. We should also be getting prepared, because since all those in government are already preparing for a rerun, we too should not be taken unawares. So we will be needing your engagement and support on this aspect. If peradventure it happens today that the election is nullified, which is not what we are asking for according to Julius, because we are asking for outright declaration of Mr. Gringo P2B as the president of the Nigeria as it stands, because according to them, they said their mandate was stolen by the APC. And PDP also claimed the same, that their mandate was also stolen. We believe strongly that we won that election given the statistics we have, given the result we have. We are not expecting anything less than the declaration of P2B as the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. But supposing that didn't happen, as if the government is believed to be planning for a rerun, it will not also be out of place for we to be preparing for a rerun election, according to Julius Abure. Abure further noted that the party is hopeful that if the matter gets to the Supreme Court, the Apex Court will also act in their favor, according to Julius Abure, the chairman of the Labour Party. National Assembly, they have set the constitution that favors them aside, according to Obasanjo, and fixed high salary for themselves. Obasanjo blasts lawmakers, even as they tell the innocent Nigerians to tighten their seatbelt because there is hunger in the land. These people keep on living what the constitution says and fixing high salary for themselves and their unborn generation. Ogu, now you go visit all of them one after the other. Former president of the Nigerian, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, on Monday accused the National Assembly of putting the constitution aside when it didn't suit their personal interests. Particularly, Obasanjo alleged that the lawmakers didn't receive salary based on the recommendations of the Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Commission, as it should be based on the country's constitution. The former Nigerian leader accused the lawmakers of undermining the country's democracy by their actions. He made the submission in Ado Ekiti, the Ekiti state capital, during a lecture titled "The Future of Constitutional Democracy in Nigeria: Imperative of a New Constitutional Order," delivered by the Catholic Bishop of Sokoto Diocese, Bishop Matthew Hassan Kuka. The event was part of activities marketing the celebration of the 60th anniversary of the call to bar of legal luminary Are Afe Babalola SAN. Obasanjo said, by the Nigerian Constitution, the Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Commission are supposed to fix the salaries and emoluments of the members of the National Assembly, but they set the constitution aside and decided to fix their own salaries, not in line with what our constitution said. Yet, they went ordinary Nigeria to go on hunger. Nigeria, on our way done. Oba to pay. If our president said, Oba you pay. And a person where they rule us now. The former president said, citizens were meant to enjoy democracy, but that could only be possible if the players respected and implemented the constitution to the letter. He said, democracy doesn't mean anything to any man who is hungry, whose life is in danger or whose property is being destroyed by bandits or conflicts of any kind. This one is coming from the office of the First Lady of the Fulani government of Nigeria, Olulemi Tinubu. What he said Muslim, or what she said, sorry to say, Muslim ticket, Remi Tinubu don't come in defense of the husband, locking Aso Villa Chapel. According to the news flying online, that is why she is here in defense of that rumor, as she said, or as she alleged that it is a rumor that the chapel in the Asrock is never closed down, because the news had it that they closed down the chapel simply because they claim that those people who are going to church in the Asrock that never supported her husband. So she's now here to defend the husband and also clear the air on what is happening. Let us see. The First Lady of the Nigeria, or First Lady of Asrock, Olulemi Tinubu, has said her husband, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has not closed down the Aso Villa Chapel. According to her, Tinubu is here to pick another chaplain after the exit of the last chaplain. Ms. Tinubu, in a statement on Monday, said, contrary to the rumors making round online, her husband still has the right to select a chaplain for the Aso Villa Chapel. Nigeria News learned or reports. The statement with the office of the First Lady issued noted that our attention has been drawn to a story on social media about the purported closure of the Aso Rock Chapel by the First Lady. We wish to state categorically that this is a fabrication and a false representation of the actual situation or what happened. The First Lady never gave such directive that the chapel be shut, nor asked for the keys to be handed over to her. Are you telling us the truth? Okay, now if you are, continue. Presently, there were weekly fellowships going on at the chapel, including midweek fellowship on Tuesdays. However, Mr. President is yet to appoint a chaplain for the chapel after the exit of the last chaplain, and he only reserved the right to appoint a new chaplain. Recall that during the campaign period of the 2020 general election, the vice presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party (PDP), Ifeanyi Okowa, asserted that the chapel in Aso Rock will be closed for years as a result of Muslim ticket of the All Poverty Congress (APC). Okowa reportedly stated that this at a meeting with the members of the Isoko Church Leaders Council held at the God's Fountain of Life Mission, Ole, Isoko South local government area of the state. He said, I believe that this is the time for us to dwell in the light of God so that His will be done in our state and in Nigeria. This is the time for us to rise up in faith and not time to mourn. The church must be prayerful, cautious, and have to think from the inside. It is my prayer that the chapel in Government House, Asaba, will remain to the glory of God, according to Ifeanyi Okowa, vice presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party. Some visitors in Aso Rock have corruption cases. This one is coming from Femi Falana, the human rights activist and SAN, senior advocate of Nigeria. The notable human rights lawyer, Femi Falana, has advised President Bola Tinubu to take a stand against corruption on and off the seat. He expressed concern about the high-profile politicians currently facing corruption charges, yet visiting the presidential villa seeking for ministerial appointment or slots. Falana voiced his concern during a commemorative event in Ado-Ekiti, Ekiti State, on Monday, July 10, 2023, celebrating Are Afe Babalalo's 60 years at the bar. Some of those who are going in and out of the villa are standing trial for looting the treasury of this country, he declared. So wrong signals must not be sent to our people and the international community. The respected lawyer urged the president and his administration to demonstrate effective leadership and fight corruption if they will. His call to action was not only directed towards the president but to other influential figures present at the event as well, including former President Olusegun Obasanjo, the Ooni of Ife, Adeyeye Ogunwusi, and the former Commonwealth Secretary General Emeka Anyoko. All was there. Falana proposed a return to an era of integrity where anyone accused of corruption with a case pending before the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) or the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, which is ICPC, would not be appointed to an authorization position. Taking a cue from the First Lady Oluremi Tinubu's remarks at the 2023 presidential inauguration interdenominational church service, Falana urged the president to lead a campaign against corruption. He was referring to Ms. Tinubu's statement, "God has blessed my family. We don't need the wealth of Nigeria to survive, but to do the right thing." Are you sure? Then what are you looking for power? He believed that with a such campaign led by the president, Nigeria can take its rightful place in the Committee of Nations. Falana highlighted the severity of corruption in Nigeria, describing it as having reached a very dangerous dimension. That is where we are at this point in time. According to him, Falana, influential public officers are stealing funds intended for the development of public infrastructures, causing an alarming amount of suffering and death we are experiencing in Nigeria of today. He concluded, so when a country gets to that stage, corruption is now a crime against humanity, according to the human rights lawyer. Why amid former military rulers, Babangida and Absalom Abubakar? This one is Governor Bago of Niger State. The governor of Niger State, Mohammed Umaru Bago, on Monday paid a consulting visit to former military president and head of state, Generals Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida and Absalom Abubakar in their various and respective homes. Nigerians gathered that Governor Bago first visited General Babangida at his hilltop residence before proceeding to the residence of General Abubakar or Absalom Abubakar. Addressing journalists after the meeting, Bago said that his administration will continue to recognize the advisory role of elder statesmen. Even if they do bad, he will still visit them and pay them their laja. According to him, his government will tap from their wealth of experience for the growth and development of the state. But the question there is, did they do well during their own time as the head of state, either military or civilian? The answer is zero. They didn't do anything. Anyway, you can consider them to be the brain behind whatever that happened in Nigeria today. But most of them did well as a military head of state, or even to compare with what we are having today as the so-called democracy. We have come to greet our fathers and to thank them for their support and also seek for their advice with a view to bringing about positive change in Niger State. And as usual, we are here to derive inspiration from them because they have continued to support us, according to Bago, he said. The governor visited the elder statesman alongside his deputy, Yakubu Garoba, secretary to the state government, Abubakar Usman, chief of staff, Abdullahi Osaman, Batamangi, and other government officials, as well as chieftains of the All Poverty Congress, APC. As if that one is not enough, we have another situation at hand here. Bamidele, at the end of the day, has validated our claims on the Tinubu's forfeiture of the $460,000 in US, according to the PDP chieftain, Frank Shaibu. The news we get this morning is the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has said the testimony of the Senate Majority Leader, Senator Opeyemi Bamidele, at the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal was a validation of his claim that the $460,000 forfeited by the President Bola Tinubu was connected to drug racketeering, according to Frank Shaibu. Recall that the Senator Bamidele has, at last Wednesday, said, as all the Poverty Congress APC witnessed in chief, that the President Tinubu did not face any criminal charge in a U.S. court, according to the witness. The Senate Majority Leader insisted that a forfeiture order against the President by an American court for $460,000 US did not replace criminal charges because it related to a civil problem. The APC lawmakers also claimed that Tinubu was not found guilty and was not given any punishment. But in a statement over the weekend, the PDP said Bamidele's testimony further confirms before the Presidential Election Petition Court that Tinubu forfeited the sum of $460,000 which he earned from the trafficking of drugs and narcotics in the United States of America. The party added that the Bamidele could not defend the figures declared by the Independent Electoral Commission INEC as a result of the 2023 presidential election in Kano State, because he was not in the state